My entire town showed up to the funeral of a man nobody could remember ever meeting. Over 300 people. Nobody could explain why they came. The obituary ran on a Thursday. Harold, 81, lifelong resident of Millhaven, no surviving family. The funeral home had placed it mostly as a formality. No one expected much of a turnout. By 10 a.m. on Saturday, the parking lot was full. By 10:30 people were parking on the grass. By the time the service started, there were over 300 people inside and outside the small chapel, which held 110 on a good day. Nobody knew each other. That was the first strange thing. In a town of 4,000, people know each other. But people kept asking, "How did you know Harold?" And nobody had a satisfying answer. A woman named Carol said she felt she simply had to come, that she'd woken up Saturday knowing it was the right thing to do, and had driven 40 minutes without fully understanding why. A man named Brett said the same. A teenager said her mom had dragged her, and her mom was currently standing at the casket crying, which her mom could not explain either. The funeral director, unprepared for any of this, asked if anyone wanted to speak. A long silence. Then an elderly man in the back stood up and said Harold used to wave to him from across the street every morning for 30 years, and he didn't know his name until he read the obituary, but he'd always felt somehow seen. Then other people started saying similar things. He'd held a door. He'd smiled at the right moment. He'd sat near someone on a park bench once during what had clearly been a very bad day and hadn't said anything, just sat there, and somehow that had been exactly right. Nobody had known his name. Everyone, it turned out, had known him. The service lasted 2 hours. Afterward, people stood in the parking lot talking longer than anyone expected, swapping these small Harold stories, and somewhere in the middle of it someone started laughing, and then others did too, and it became, against all odds, one of the warmest afternoons Millhaven had seen in years. He had no surviving family. He had 300 strangers who drove to say goodbye to someone they'd never met and left feeling like they'd lost a friend. The funeral director said it was the largest service he'd ever run. He said he'd been doing the job for 30 years, and he went home that night and called his brother, whom he hadn't spoken to in 2 years, and didn't fully understand why until he was already dialing.